7 world championships, a record that stood alone at the top of the sport for decades. People began to despise how untouchable he had become, but whatever they say, his place among the greatest Formula One drivers of all time is beyond dispute. With Max Verstappen's more recent stranglehold on the sport, it is easy to forget just how complete Hamilton's dominance truly was. So the question is worth revisiting. How good was Lewis Hamilton at his absolute best? From Stevenage to the starting grid, Lewis Kyle Carl Hamilton was born on January 7, 1985, in Stevenage, England. His relationship with racing began at the age of 6 when his father handed him a radio-controlled car. Within 2 years, he was entering kart races against adults and winning. Formula One carries one of the highest financial barriers of any sport on Earth. Car costs, repairs, logistics, and management fees create an almost insurmountable wall for families without serious backing. Anthony Hamilton understood exactly what he was asking of himself, but he also understood that his son was exceptional. He took on multiple jobs simultaneously, keeping the household running on as little as possible while directing every spare pound toward Lewis's racing career. That investment paid off faster than almost anyone could have anticipated. In 1998, at just 13 years old, Lewis was signed to McLaren's Young Driver program. What followed was a sequence of results that removed all doubt about where this was heading. In 2001, he claimed both the European and World Karting Championships. In 2003, he won the Formula Renault UK Series title and earned a seat in Formula 3. By 2005, the results were simply absurd. 15 wins from 20 races, and the championship in a season that no longer felt competitive. In 2006, his first season in GP2, he won the championship outright. Rookies do not do that. Then came Formula One. McLaren had taken a calculated risk, but the seat next to Hamilton belonged to Fernando Alonso, the reigning double world champion. If there was a mentor worth having during a debut season, Hamilton had found the most demanding version of that arrangement. In 2007, he finished on the podium in each of his first 9 races and took his maiden Grand Prix victory in Canada. He came within a single point of the championship in his first year. The following season, 2008, he crossed the line in 5th at the Brazilian Grand Prix and became the youngest Formula One world champion in history at 23 years old. The Mercedes machine. The years between 2009 and 2012 told a more complicated story. Hamilton was still driving at an exceptional level, but McLaren was struggling to provide a car capable of sustaining a title challenge across a full season. 4 consecutive years of finishing 4th in the Constructors' Championship did not reflect the quality of the man behind the wheel. Meanwhile, Mercedes was quietly constructing something different. They offered Hamilton a vision of where the team was going, a financial deal substantial enough to command attention, and a compelling argument for why leaving McLaren made sense. In September 2012, he committed to joining Mercedes for the following season. The reaction in the paddock ranged from surprise to skepticism. His first year with the team, 2013, produced 5 pole positions and a victory in Hungary, but a 4th-place finish in the championship. What it also produced, crucially, was time. Time for Mercedes to understand how Hamilton drove. Time to adapt the car around his preferences. Time to learn what he needed and how he needed it. That preparation coincided with one of the most significant regulatory shifts in modern Formula One history. The 2014 season introduced the 1.6-liter turbocharged hybrid power unit, and Mercedes had developed the most advanced version of that technology on the grid by a considerable margin. The combination of Hamilton's ability and Mercedes' engineering advantage created something the sport had rarely seen. One win followed another. The gap between that car and the rest of the field was not marginal, it was structural, but the season was not without friction. Hamilton's teammate was Nico Rosberg, a German driver of genuine quality who knew the car and team as well as anyone alive. The two had known each other since their karting days, and what unfolded between them over the following 3 seasons became one of the defining rivalries in the sport's history. In 2014, Hamilton took the championship by a dominant margin of 67 points, winning or retiring in almost every race. In 2015, the contest tightened considerably. Rosberg had learned the car more deeply, and the gap between them narrowed to something that kept the season alive deep into the final rounds. Hamilton took his second consecutive title, but it required everything he had. Then came 2016. Mercedes won 19 of the 21 races that season, but between the two drivers at the front, it could not have been more tightly contested. The Spanish Grand Prix provided the season's most consequential moment. Into turn 3, the two cars made contact. Hamilton was forced wide, and a catastrophic crash with his own teammate removed him from the race entirely. A young Dutch driver named Max Verstappen won on that day, the first Grand Prix victory of his career. Going into the final race in Abu Dhabi, Rosberg led by 12 points. Hamilton won the race, but needed Rosberg to finish outside the top 3 to take the title. Rosberg held on for second. The championship went to Germany. 5 days later, Rosberg announced his retirement from Formula One at the peak of his powers, cementing a legacy entirely on his own terms. With Rosberg gone and Finland's Valtteri Bottas assuming the second seat, the obstacles in Hamilton's path were effectively cleared. 2017, champion. 2018, champion. 2019, champion. 2020, winning the Turkish Grand Prix in wet conditions that reduced the race to a masterclass in car control, Hamilton claimed a 7th world title, equaling the all-time record. He was not just dominant, he was unreachable. What set Hamilton apart? At this level of the sport, physical preparation and mental conditioning are entry-level requirements. Every driver on the grid has elite coaching, bespoke training programs, and psychological support systems that would have seemed extraordinary a generation ago. These things do not explain why Hamilton won and others did not. The answer begins with his braking. Hamilton has consistently described himself as one of the latest brakers in the field, and the data supports it. He carried his braking point further toward the corner than almost any other driver, doing so with a consistency few could match across an entire race distance. When the margin between first and second is measured in thousandths of a second, braking 10 or 20 meters later than the competition at every corner of every race adds up to something decisive. Anthony Hamilton identified this as a development area during his son's karting years, systematically pushing Lewis to brake later and later until what had required maximum concentration became instinct. His relationship with tire management developed from the opposite direction. In his karting days, he was known for pushing a car beyond its limits, wringing every last fraction of performance from whatever he was driving regardless of the mechanical cost. Adapting that tendency into a discipline that could be sustained over race distances required becoming a master of the grip balance, reading exactly how much heat was in each tire at each moment, and adjusting accordingly. Data released by Mercedes showed Hamilton's tires running nearly 5 degrees cooler than his teammates at equivalent speeds. That degree of precision is not technique, it feels. It is an understanding of what the car is communicating that very few drivers in the sport's history have possessed at that level. The 2021 season produced one of the most dramatic title fights in modern Formula One history, and then the 2022 regulations arrived. The FIA mandated significant aerodynamic changes. The floors of the cars were cut diagonally at the rear, reducing downforce substantially. Rear brake winglets were shortened. Pirelli introduced new tire constructions designed for greater durability and thermal consistency. Then came updates to the power unit regulations. These combined changes reset the competitive order entirely and opened the door for whichever team could best interpret the new framework. The team that answered most effectively was Red Bull, with a young Dutch driver who had been collecting wins since his teenage years and had already shown, back on that afternoon in Spain in 2016, that he was ready for exactly this moment. Lewis Hamilton has not stood on the top step of a Formula One podium since December 2021. What he built in the years before that, 7 championships, the records, the performances in conditions that exposed the gap between himself and the rest of the field in ways that left no room for argument, represents one of the most complete careers the sport has ever produced. Calling him the greatest of all time is a conversation worth having. Calling him one of the greatest of all time is not a conversation at all. If this breakdown of Lewis Hamilton's career has reminded you of just how extraordinary the Hamilton era actually was, share it with someone who needs to go back and watch those races again. Hit the like button if you believe his place in the conversation about the greatest Formula One driver of all time is fully deserved. Subscribe for more deep dives into the careers, rivalries, and defining moments that shaped the sport. Leave a comment with where you rank Hamilton in the all-time list, because that argument is far from settled.